Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is Randeezus. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Today we're going to be talking about hackers, and where I would love to just sit here and bitch about how I almost won a game but it was killed by a hacker, or how I feel like anytime I die in a gunfight my first initial thought is, oh, that must be a hacker. I will refrain as much as possible, no guarantees, because that is not the point of today's video. That is not constructive at all. Today we're going to be going over ways that Infinity Ward and Activision can make their game better by creating systems that ban cheaters faster and more effectively. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Firstly, I'd like to say that I'm not a developer or a cheater, but I have been following a lot of YouTubers and seen some interesting Reddit posts from cheaters. One in particular, someone who claims to cheat, is advising Infinity Ward to lay down these steps to stop people from cheating. Another post is from an ex-cheater who wrote anti-cheat software in their own little indie game that was able to detect cheaters within the first 5 minutes of gameplay. The first point is a very detailed analysis of all player statistics. So basically a very complex combat record. There are a few different things that cheaters will have that really good players won't. For example, they will have a very high score per minute on either one or a very few specific weapons. A good player can usually get similar score per minute on every gun. Think about pub stomping YouTubers like Korean Savage or Swag. They're constantly getting 25 plus kills a game with every single weapon in the game. So their score per minute will be pretty average across the board. Even if it does have the Growl, for example, to have like an extremely high score per minute, it won't be as high of a difference than a cheater. This is because cheaters only use a specific set of guns because they're very easy. Cheaters will only use the easy guns, the Growl, the CR56. They don't use off-meta guns because cheaters are not looking for a challenge. So if you compare their Growl score per minute with the Odin, for example, you will see very different statistics. Another stat that will be very unusually high in cheaters is average amount of headshots in a kill. This is because aimbot is made to aim for the head. They wouldn't create an aimbot that shoots your arms or legs because of a few things. One, you wouldn't kill very fast. And two, 9 times out of 10, your head is the thing that is showing in a gunfight. It makes more sense to aim for the head, meaning that cheaters will naturally have an extremely high headshot count. The third stat is that their kill-death ratio will not reflect their time spent on the game. So because a cheater will just start a brand new account, get super high killing games in Warzone, and never die, their KD will most definitely be above 10, for example, within the very first few hours of that account being opened. That's simply ridiculous. Nobody in the world has that, especially in a game that is a few months old. If this was the beginning of the life cycle of Modern Warfare, then this specific stat might have to be looked at closer because you'd have a lot of previous Call of Duty players making their primary accounts. But 9 months into the game being out, it's safe to say that brand new accounts with above 10 KDs are very suspicious. Another way to detect cheaters using statistics is how fast a player can snap to their target and kill them once the player enters their field of view. Add in how far away the enemy is, and it makes detecting a cheater much easier. There are ways to counter this, ex-cheaters have said, but with enough resources, I believe Activision will be able to figure it out. A normal player, even a very highly skilled player, will not be able to just snap around and kill every single person in an entire game for every single game that they play. Obviously, there are going to be pro players and streamers who will get red flagged on some of these stats alone, but it's the combination of all of them together that will truly determine if a player is cheating or not. Also, one idea I just had, if the red flag goes off on a player, but it seems like it might just be someone who's really good at the game, then there should be a program that the developers can use to watch the gameplay from that suspected cheater, and then use their own knowledge and wisdom on the game on determining if the player was cheating or not. There's another way that one of the cheaters said that you could easily just kick cheaters that I could see becoming very toxic in Call of Duty, and that is vote kicking. Basically, the idea is if enough people vote to kick a player, then they will be kicked from the lobby. This sounds great in theory, but anonymous people on the internet are much bigger assholes than you might imagine. Plus, it would mean that any good player could easily just be kicked if people wanted them to. Like to pretend that you hit the shot of your life and snipe someone out of a chopper. Kicked. Squad wipe a team while their team is in the gulag. Kicked. One of my favorite things is, apparently this is a real thing in Rainbow Six Siege, and if you choke a clutch in that game's version of Search and Destroy, everybody will kick you because you suck. Hilarious, but horrible. I mean, of course you could make it so that the prompt doesn't just come up for anybody, but people are assholes, and if you embarrass them, they're gonna get angry. One thing for certain, hackers are running rampant in Warzone, and it's making the game not fun. Pair it with skill-based matchmaking, and if you're any good at the game, you will run into hackers constantly. It is a broken system, and it feels like it's not being taken as seriously as it should. Unfortunately, my channel only has like 150 subs, so the likelihood of a dev seeing this particular video and thinking, wow, this Randiza spits straight facts, homie, is highly unlikely, but I will keep banging that drum. Guys, if you like the video, like the video. If you love the video, subscribe down below because a lot of you aren't subbed. Follow me on Twitch and comment down below if you've run into hackers recently. Peace out.